Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for being here with me. On today's lesson, we're going to talk all about 7th chords. We're going to talk about what they are and how to play them. So now there are a few different versions of 7th chords. So before we get into how to play them, let's talk about what they are and how to build them. So what is a 7th chord exactly? Well, a 7th chord is a regular chord with the 7th scale degree added to it. So basically what that means, for anyone who doesn't know, you build chords off of scale degrees. So every key or every scale in the key has notes that are numbered from 1 to 7. And those notes become your scale degrees. And we would extract some of those scale degrees to build different types of chords. And in the 7th chords, you would add the 7th degree. So now there are 3 versions of 7th chords. There's major 7th, there's dominant 7th, and there's a minor 7th. So let's go through each one by one. So the formula to make a major 7th chord is with a 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th scale degree of any given key. So for example, if you wanted to play a C major 7th chord, you would have to play the notes C, E, G, and B. And now we will get into the shapes of these chords and how to actually play them, but let's just get the theory out of the way, okay? And now we have our dominant 7th chord, which is typically just referred to as a 7th chord. So if you hear something like a D7 chord, they're really referring to a D dominant 7th chord. And the formula to make a dominant 7th chord is a 1st degree, 3rd degree, 5th degree, and flat 7th degree. So let me mention this, that any alterations made to any chord or any kind of scale is made from the major scale. So for example, let's say we want to play an E7 chord or a C dominant 7th chord, we would be playing the notes E, G sharp, B, and D. And we would be playing a natural D note because in the E major key or the E major scale, the D is sharpened. So to flatten it, we just have to bring it down a half step, and that would bring it down to a D natural. And now lastly, we have our minor 7th chord. And the formula that makes a minor 7th chord is a 1st degree, flat 3rd degree, 5th degree, and flat 7th degree. And again, those alterations are going to be made from the major scale. So for example, if you want to play the D minor 7th chord, you would play the notes D, F, G, and C. So now that we understand what we're doing when we play 7th chords, let's learn the shapes to be able to play them. And we're going to be using 3 shapes from the cage system. We're going to be using the E, A, and D shape. And we'll just alter them slightly to turn them into our different versions of 7th chords, which will all be movable, right? All chords are movable. You could play them anywhere on the fretboard, on any single fret. So let's get a little closer and talk about it. All right, so let's begin with our major 7 chord in the E shape. So this is our regular E major chord shape. And we're playing in the C major chord since our chord identifier is right here, right? This is our C note. So this is our C major chord. And I'll link a video down below about how to identify chords. If you don't already know, that will help you. And the formula for the major 7th chord is to just add the 7th degree, right? And if we look at the scale degrees, which are kind of the ingredients, right, that make up the chord, we have a 7th degree right here. And it's a little difficult to play all these notes. So we will just readjust our fingers to be able to play all the notes, because really all we need to play a chord is a 1, 3, 5, and a 7 in this case, right? Because we're making a major 7. So all we have to do is move our fingers, right? And just lean your index a little bit on the A string here just to mute it, because that isn't a part of our chord. And so this is your major 7 chord. And again, this shape is completely movable, right? So what makes this the C major 7 chord is the chord identifier up here, right? This is the C note, so this is the C major 7 chord. So if you wanted to, let's say, play a B major 7 chord, you just have to move your shape and the chord identifier to the B note, which is right here. And that is your B major 7 chord. And we also, by the way, wouldn't play this last string here, the high E string, because that's not a part of our chord either. All right, now onto our A shape. So this is our regular A major shape, and we are playing the F chord, F major chord, because this is the F note here. So if we want to play this as a major 7 chord, we have to add the 7, right? And we have one right here, right? So we could just move our fingers around a little bit to play all those notes. And that is your A-shaped major 7 chord. And the chord identifier remains the same, right? This is the F note, so this is the F major 7 chord. And now onto our D-shaped major 7 chord. So we'll begin with our D major chord, right? This is just our regular D major chord with the chord identifier being right here. And all we have to do is add a 7, right? And if you can see, we have a 7 right here. So what we can do in this case is just move this finger where we were playing the 1 back here and find another 1 degree elsewhere in the D shape. So we have another one right here, right? So all we have to play again is a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7. So we have a 1 here, we have a 5 here, a 7 here, and a 3 here. So we just have to play like that. And that is our D-shaped major 7 chord. And how I'm playing this is I'm just using my index to play the 1 degree here, and then I'm just barring on all 3 strings down here. And so this note here is going to be our new chord identifier. So this is the B note. So this is our B major 7 chord. All right, now onto our dominant 7 chords. And we'll start with our E shape again. So this is our regular E major shape, and we're playing the C major chord once again, right? And to play a dominant 7, we just have to flatten the 7th degree, right? It's a 1, 3, 5, and flat 7. That's the formula. So we have our 7th degree right here, right? So we have to flat it, right? So how do we flat a note? We just move it down 1 half step. So move it down 1 fret. So we would move it down here. And if you see, that flattened 7 is in our bar line, right? In our E shape, right? So really all we have to do is lift this finger here, right? Lift our pinky to expose, right? The minor or the flattened 7. So if we play it like this, that is your dominant 7 chord. Again, your chord identifier is right here where your index is. All right, and now onto our dominant 7 chord in the A shape. So we're playing the F major chord again, since this is the F note. And we have to flat the 7, right, to turn it into a dominant 7th chord. So we have our 7 right here, right? And we need to flatten it. So we'll bring it down 1 fret. And again, just like in the E shape, this flat 7 is in the bar line. So all we have to do is bar it like normal and play our 5th degree and 3rd degree, which is right here, right? So that is your A-shaped dominant 7th chord. And again, the chord identifier remains the same. So this is the F note. So this is your F dominant 7 chord. And now onto our D-shaped dominant 7 chord. So here's our regular D major shape chord, and here's our 7th degree, right? And we have to flatten it once. So bring it down a half step. So we will find our 1, which is right up here, right? And play our 5th, which is here, and our 3rd, which is here. And that is your D-shaped dominant 7 chord. Again, chord identifier remains the same. This is the B note. So this is your B dominant 7, or just your B7. And now lastly, onto our minor 7 chords. So we'll start with our E shape again, right? Still on the C major chord, still playing the C major chord. So in the minor 7th, we have a flattened 3rd and a flattened 7th, right? So we have our 7th here and our 3rd here. So we have to flat both of them. And again, those notes flattened land in our bar line. So all you have to do is lift these 2 fingers here, right? And just play your 5 up here. And this is your minor 7th chord. Again, chord identifier remains the same. This is your C note. So this is your C minor 7 chord. Now onto our A shape. And again, we're playing the F chord. This is the F note. And we have our 7th here and our 3rd here, right? So we have to flatten both of them. So we have to bring our 3rd down here and our 7th down here, right? So our 7th lands in our bar line, right? And we just have to play our flattened 3rd down here and our 5th up here. So we'll play those strings together. And that is your A-shaped minor 7th chord. And again, this is your chord identifier here. So this is the F note. So this is your F minor 7 chord. And now onto our D shape. So again, we have to flatten the 3rd and the 7th, right? So we have our 7th here and our 3rd here. So we have to bring them both down a half step. So down 1 fret. So flat 3rd here, flat 7th here, 5th up here, and your 1 is up here, right? And that is your D-shaped minor 7 chord. It kind of sucks to play. I don't really like to play this chord, but it's there. And again, chord identifier is the same. This is your B note. So that is your B minor 7 chord. All right, guys, so that is it. That is how you play all the different versions of the 7 chords. And again, remember, these shapes are completely movable. All you have to do is move the shape and the chord identifier in the shape to whatever note whose chord you want to play. So I hope that was helpful. And don't forget to let me know down in the comments what video you would like to see next, what lesson you'd like to see next. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.